Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Adnan Hamdan, and this is my environmental audit for Econ 300 at Eastern Mennonite University. So, to start, here is a visual layout of the house. I should probably note that there's 6 people living in our house. So, the top floor up here with the 4 bedrooms. Um, so, I highlighted the rooms based off how much emissions I thought would be coming out of them. So with the bedrooms, I don't think we really have emissions like that. Nobody's really on their devices, even in their rooms at my house. So, but the bathrooms, I feel like a lot of waste comes out of them due to us using the bathrooms in the top floor. And then we have the middle floor, the one with the kitchen and dining room in the middle of the slides. So the dining room, pretty self-explanatory. I feel like we do all our eating there. If we do projects or anything that has to do with cardboard, packaging, stuff like that, it's usually the dining room. The bathroom and the ground floor we usually don't use as often, still used on a daily basis though. Living room, that's where all the devices usually are, so that's that. And the kitchen, because of the cooking. And then that brings us to the basement, which is the bottom left blueprint. I expect emissions only from the laundry room due to the washing machine, dryer, and the extra freezer we have there for keeping the meat. Initially going into the audit, my thoughts were that we would have a lot more emission waste on energy and fuel because we have a lot more people in the house. We would probably have more than average devices or utilities in the house, like in the kitchen, personal devices, and so on. Also, with stuff like showering, if you have 3 people, you're not going to shower as much as if you have 6 people because then shower gets used 6 times rather than three, and so on. But yeah, that's my initial expectations going into this. Also, when it came to vehicles, we only have 2 cars, so um, they're always in use because they're spread out across 4 drivers. So the cars are almost always in use except at nighttime. So yeah, and then I also expected a lot more food packaging and electronic waste than average, and that was my initial expectations. So after I actually itemized and did the audit, I found that the highest emission coming from our household was actually the HVAC system. The HVAC system came out at about 600 kilowatt hours per month, and that was the most by far. I was also surprised to see that the Nintendo Switch only had zero point 0.9, but it makes sense because we don't use it as often. Some ways that we could improve in this realm would be to install a smart thermostat, which could save us 100 to 200 kilowatt hours a month by optimizing the HVAC use. Another way would be air drying clothes instead of using the dryer, or unplugging unused electronics, or use smart power strips to save from phantom energy. So, yeah. Um, so, for the monthly household water usage breakdown, the highest one was the showers. As I said earlier, it makes sense. Adds up. I mean, but I did not expect it to be an estimated 3,600 gallons. So one way we could really, really cut that down almost in half would be to install low flow shower heads, um, which would basically cut those emissions in half. It would use less water, but to be honest, I feel like we need that. I feel like that was a big shocker for me. Um, Another thing that shocked me here would be the dishwasher. I felt like the dishwasher probably used a lot more than what it said it does, but I'm, I mean, hey, who am I to question? I didn't create dishwashers, so. But some ways we could improve here, other than the low flow shower heads, would be only run full loads in the dishwasher and washing machine. Um, Wash the clothes with cold water. Um, Use water the plants early or late in the day to minimize evaporation and save outdoor water. So that also helps. Um, Another thing. would be the monthly household transportation impact. So as I said earlier, we have two cars. Having two cars, they're almost always in use. The cars we have are a Ford Focus and a Honda Pilot. The Honda Pilot is a gas guzzler compared to the Focus, even though it has good gas mileage. But compared to the Focus, it's a gas guzzler. So, some ways that we could improve would be to buy a hybrid car, which would cut one of the car's emissions in half. Pretty self-explanatory. Would really help out a lot. Um, Another way would be to drive less or carpool. So that's interesting to think about. So this is a summary of my audit, and um, I figured a lot of this stuff out through basically doing the math after getting the electric bill and the water bill, and then itemizing everything that we use, putting it down on a list, and trying to break it down. It was quite interesting. I learned a lot. Definitely some major takeaways, and I already know that my family is going to be implementing some of the things that I learned here. It was also very interesting to learn how much emissions we actually let out. Uh, as I said, I had expectations going into this. This really exceeded my expectations, and I learned a lot. So I really enjoyed it. And on the left here, we have a lot of the main ways that we could improve. And the top one would be to install a smart thermostat. So my main takeaways from this project would be that I realized our emissions were much higher than I expected. Majority of it is from heating and driving. So our electricity use is also a major contributor, mostly from the HVAC, as I said earlier, and phantom energy. So my dad wasn't too happy about that one, but we're working on it, so it'll get better, hopefully. I also learned that small changes, like doing laundry when you have a full load, or washing it with cold water, or switching your light bulbs even to LED lights, could cut back a lot on emissions, and could save a lot of money too. And it's not really taking us out of our comfort zone doing any of that. So I'll definitely be on that. And I appreciate this opportunity. And thank you very much for listening. Thank you.